This is the OCR GCSE 91 Maths Paper 1 from the Foundation Papers, and it's from the November 2020 series. Question number 1. Reese asked some friends what type of program they watch most on television. The bar chart shows some of his results. That's what we see here. For part A, 10 people answered film. We have to complete the bar chart to show this information. So if we take a look at film, here is the completed bar chart. We have shown information for film. We've got a frequency of 10. Next, we have to complete these sentences. We have to find the missing word. Something was chosen by the most people. Well, most people, that corresponds to a frequency of 12. It corresponds to soaps. Next, how many people chose news? News, that corresponds to 7 people. So 7 people chose news. And for the next part, a certain number, fewer people chose nature than comedy. So if I take a look at nature and comedy, the difference between those, you can see, is 3. The difference between 8 and 5 is 3. And so 3 fewer people chose nature than comedy. Question number 2. For part A, we have to reflect the triangle in the mirror line. Here is the mirror line. If we were to reflect this shape in the mirror line, we end up with this shape here. Next, for part B, we have to rotate the triangle 90 degrees clockwise about the point P. Well, if here we've got our original shape P, we are rotating it 90 degrees clockwise about the point P. So if I rotate about P, we end up with this over here. We have rotated clockwise. Here is the completed transformation. Question number 3. We have to work out the volume of this cuboid. If we take a look at the units, we've got centimeters cubed, and here the dimensions are given in centimeters. And so therefore the volume is equal to 7 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5. It turns out the volume is 70 centimeters cubed. So we have 70 centimeters cubed. Question number 4. For part A, we have to write 2% as a decimal. Well, percentage means out of 100. So we have 2 out of 100, which as a decimal is 0.02. Next, we have to write 11 over 20 as a percentage. Well, to go from a fraction to a percentage, we multiply the fraction by 100. And if we work this out, 11 over 20 multiplied by 100 is 55. So we have 55%. Question number 5. We have to use one of the symbols shown here to make each statement true. We've got 0.7 and 2/3. Well, 2/3 as a decimal, that's equal to 0.6 recurring. You can see 0.7 is greater than 2/3. And 27.06 is less than 27.59. Question number 6. A bag contains 12 counters. 6 are red, 4 are blue and 2 are yellow. The counter is taken from the bag at random. We have to mark with an arrow the probability that the counter is, for part A, red. Well, we've got 6 out of 12, which is red. So the probability of obtaining a red is 6 out of 12, which is equal to 1/2. So the 1/2 goes here, and we mark our arrow over here. Next, for part B, the probability of yellow. To work out the probability of yellow, we have 2 yellow out of 12. So the probability of yellow is 2 out of 12, which, if we work this out, this simplifies to 1/6. And so this is shown over here. Next, we've got the probability of green. Well, we've got red, blue and yellow counters. None of them are green. So the probability of green is equal to 0. So we mark on here the probability of green. Question number 7. For part A, we have to divide 72 in the ratio 45. Well, if we add together the components of the ratio, 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. And therefore, if we work out 72 divided by 9, it turns out we get 8 per part. And therefore, we multiply the 4 by 8 to get 32. And we also do 5 multiplied by 8 to get 40. So we have 32 to 40. Next, in 1 year, Clara and Dave borrowed books from a library in the ratio 3 to 7. Dave borrowed 35 books. We have to work out the number of books borrowed by Clara. Here is a bar model. We've got 3 to 7, as we see here. We've got Clara and Dave, and we know that Dave borrowed 35, so the total here is equal to 35. So each part is worth 35 divided by 7, which is equal to 5. So we have 5, as we see here, and therefore here we have 3 lots of 5, and adding these together we get 15. So the number of books borrowed by Clara is 15. Question number 8. Yogurts are packed in trays. Each tray holds 12 yogurts. What is the smallest number of trays needed to pack 460 yogurts? Well, to do this, we need to do 460 divided by 12. So if I work this out, it turns out we get 38.3, etc. And therefore the smallest number of trays we would have 39 trays. So we have 39 trays. Question number 9. 59 families are asked whether they have a cat or a dog. 26 have a cat only, 14 have a dog only, and 11 have both a cat and a dog. And we have to show this information in a Venn diagram. Well, we've got 26 for cat only, 14 for dog only, and 11 for both cat and dog. And for those who do not have a cat or a dog, 59 take away 26, take away 14, take away 11 is 8. So 8 goes on the outside. So for the next part of part B, we have to find out how many of the families do not have a cat or a dog. Well, that will be 8. And we've already placed that in the Venn diagram. Now for part C, one of the families is chosen at random. We have to write down the probability that they've got a dog. Well, out of 59, the number who have a dog, we've got 14 plus 11, which is 25. So, the number who have got a dog is equal to 14 plus 11, which is 25, and therefore the probability that they've got a dog is 25 over 59. Question number 10. Nadia thinks of a number. She finds the square root and then divides by 5. Her answer is 20. What number is she thinking of? Well, if we let x equal Nadia's number, what's happening is she square roots her number. So we've got square root x. We then divide by 5. And from this, we see that her answer is 20. And if I multiply both sides by square root x, square root x is equal to 5 times by 20, which is 100, and therefore x is equal to 100 squared, which is 10,000. So the number she's thinking of is 10,000. Question number 11. The scale on a map is 1 to 50,000, and we have to find out how many kilometers on the ground are represented by 8 centimeters on the map. First of all, we've got these conversions. Centimeters to meters, we divide by 100. Meters to kilometers, we divide by 1000. So if we have the ratio 1 to 50,000, we are figuring out how many centimeters would be represented by 8 centimeters. So if I multiply 50,000 by 8, we get 400,000. So in real life, what we have is 400,000 centimeters, and we need to convert this into kilometers. So if I have 400,000 divided by 100, I get 4,000. So this is equal to 4,000 meters. And then if I divide this by 1,000 to convert it into kilometers, we get 4 kilometers. So we have 4 kilometers. Question number 12. For part A, a train is travelling with a velocity of 15 meters per second. It then accelerates at 0.5 meters per second squared for 6 seconds. We have to use the formula v equals u plus at to calculate the velocity of the train after 6 seconds. So, we've got v equals u, and u over here is 15. We add on a, which is 0.5, multiplied by the time, 6, and it turns out here we get 18. And so we end up with 18 meters per second. And now for part B, we have to rearrange the formula v equals u plus at to make a the subject. Well, if I've got v equals u plus at, we can then subtract a from both sides, leaving us with v minus u equals at. And now if we divide both sides of this equation by a, this and this cancel, so we get t equals v minus u over a, which we can rewrite as t equals v minus u over a. Question number 13. We have to choose a word from this list that best describes each statement. For part A, we've got 8 equals n plus 2. Well, we can solve this to find out what n is, so here we've got an equation. Part B, 3x plus 2y, we've got two separate terms, we've got no equal sign, and therefore here we have an expression. And for part C, a plus b lots of a minus b equals a squared minus b squared. Whatever value of a we have on the left hand side is the same as the right hand side. So here we've got an identity. Question number 14. Harry is paid £8.60 per hour for the first 30 hours he works each week. After 30 hours he is paid 1.5 times the hourly rate. Last week Harry worked for 33 hours. He was also paid a bonus of 1/10 of his earnings for that week. We have to calculate how much Harry was paid in total last week. Well, we've got here him working for 33 hours, and 30 of those hours are standard hours. So we've got the total amount equaling, well, we've got £8.60, and then we multiply this by 30, so those are the first 30 hours, and then we've got 1.5 times, well, 1.5 times by £8.60. So this is the overtime. So if we work this out, well, we also need to times this by 3. So this is the extra hours that are put in, because from 30 hours to 33 hours we've got an extra 3 hours. So working this out, we've got 860 times 30 plus 1.5 times 860 times 3, which is £296.70. So we've got 296.70, and then with the bonus, we've got the bonus, which is equal to 1/10 of the 296.70. So if I divide this by 10, I get 29.67. And therefore, for the total, we've got £296.70 plus £29.67. And if we work this out, adding on to this 296.7, we get 326.37. That's the total he was paid last week. £326.37. Question number 15. For part A, we have to solve x over 2 plus 5 equals 15. First of all, if I subtract 5 from both sides, we end up with x over 2 equals 10. And if I multiply both sides by 2, on the left hand side we are left with x, and on the right hand side 10 times 2 is 20. So x is equal to 20. Now for part B, we have to factorise 5a squared minus 10a. Well, what's common to both is a 5, and then an a is also common to both, and then inside the bracket we would have a minus 2. This expands to give 5a squared minus 10a. And now for part C, we have to solve by factorising x squared plus 15x plus 56. Well, here we require two numbers which multiply to give 56, which add to give 15. You will find those two numbers to be 7 and 8. So when we come to factorise, we've got x plus 7, lots of x plus 8, and this is equal to 0. So either x plus 7 is 0, or we've got x plus 8, which is 0, and from this we can see x is equal to minus 7. From here, x equals minus 8. So we've got two possible values, minus 7, minus 8. Question number 16. The height h of a lorry is 4.3 meters correct to one decimal place. We have to complete the error interval. Well, for the interval we've got 4.25, which is less than or equal to h, which is less than 4.35. Anything above this value, up to 4.35, when rounded to one decimal place, gives the 4.3. Question number 17. The table shows the number of barrels of oil produced per day by some countries. For part A, we have to write down the number of barrels of oil produced by Cameroon as an ordinary number. What we need to do is write 9.32 times 10 to the power of 4 as an ordinary number. We move the decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. We put in zeros here and here. So what we end up with is 93200 as an ordinary number. Now for part B, how many more barrels of oil per day did China produce than the UK? Give your answer in standard form correct to three significant figures. We need to find out the difference between 3.98 times 10 to the power of 6 minus 9.39 times 10 to the power of 5. So if I work this out, well, we can just use our calculator. We've got 3.98 times 10 to the power of 6 minus 9.39 times 10 to the power of 5. It turns out we get 3041,000. And now we need to give this in standard form to three significant figures. Well, we're going to be moving the decimal place here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the left. So we end up with 3.041 times 10 to the power of 6, which to three significant figures is 3.04 times 10 to the power of 6. So this is the value given to three significant figures. Now for part C, Jamal says that the USA produced approximately 3 times more barrels of oil than Japan. Is he correct? Show how you decide. Well, if I multiply 3.92 times 10 to the 3 by 3, working this out, what we could also do is divide 1.17 times 10 to the 7 by 3.92 times 10 to the 3. And let's see if we get something which is approximately 3 times bigger. So we've got 1.17 times 10 to the power of 7 divided by 3.92 times 10 to the power of 3. So if I work this out, we've got 1.17 times 10 to the power of 7 divided by 3.92 times 10 to the power of 3. So here we get 2984.69, etc. This is not approximately 3, in fact it's approximately 3,000 times bigger. So Jamal is incorrect because it's approximately 2985 times bigger, not 3. Question number 18. A triangle has sides of length 14.1, 14.8 and 19.5. The units are in centimetres. We're questioning whether this is a right angle triangle and show how you decide. Well, if I draw a right angled triangle, then as we see here, if I've got sides of A, B and C, with Pythagoras, the sum of the squares of the two shorter sides, A squared plus B squared, will equal C squared. Now if I take my triangle, we do not know if this is a right angle triangle or not, so I will not include the 90-degree symbol. So if here I've got 14.1, 14.8 and 19.5, if I work out 14.8 squared plus 14.1 squared, and if we're questioning if this is equal to 19.5 squared, 14.8 squared plus 14.1 squared it turns out here we get 417.85, and 19.5 squared is 380.25. They do not equal each other, and so what we can say here then, the person's incorrect because Pythagoras does not apply here. Question number 19. One morning, Kai records the colour of the cars passing his house. He then works out the relative frequency of each colour. Some of his results are shown in this table. The following morning, Kai is going to record the colour of the first 200 cars to pass his house. we have to work out an estimate for the total number of cars, coloured silver or red, that he should expect to see. Well, we need to find out the relative frequency of silver. For the relative frequency of silver, we've got 1 minus 0.16 for red, minus 0.1 for green, minus 0.24 for black, minus 0.32 for other. So if I work this out, we get 0.18 for silver. And now, if there's 200 cars that pass his house, for silver or red, what we would have then for silver or red, we've got 0.18 times 200 plus 0.16 times 200. So if I work this out, we get 68. So we have 68. Question number 20. James is taking 3 examination papers in Spanish. We've got paper 1, he got 43 out of 80, and in paper 2 he got 38 out of 65. Paper 3 is out of 95. The marks in each of the 3 papers are added together. We have to find the lowest mark that James needs in paper 3 to achieve 60% of the total marks. The total number of marks, we've got 80 plus 65 plus 95. So the total number of marks is that of 240, and therefore 60% of the total marks we've got 0.6, 60% times 240, and if we work this out, we get 144, and if you are in need of convincing, we get 144. And so the number of marks you need then, we've got 144, which is what he needs to get 60%, take away the 43 he got in paper 1, take away the 38 he got in paper 2, 144, take away 43, take away 38 is 63. So you need 63 marks in paper 3 to get 60% overall. Question number 21. 3 people take 2.5 hours to deliver leaflets to 270 houses. Assuming all people deliver leaflets at the same rate, how long will it take 5 people to deliver leaflets to 405 houses? Give your answer in hours and minutes. So for 3 people, we know that we've got 270 houses in 2.5 hours. So we can find out how many houses will be delivered in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, I need to do 270 divided by 2.5, which is 108. So I've got 108 houses delivered in 1 hour for 3 people. And therefore, for 1 person, we need to divide this by 3. So we get 36 houses in 1 hour. So now, if we are looking for information about 5 people delivering leaflets to 405 houses, well, for 5 people, how many leaflets can be delivered in 1 hour? We need to multiply this by 5 to get 180. So we've got 180 houses delivered, leaflets delivered to 5 people take 1 hour to deliver leaflets to 180 houses. Now we want to find out how long it will take these 5 people to deliver 400 leaflets to 405 houses. So the question is, how do we go from 108 to 405? Well, 405 divided by 108 is divided by 180 is 2.25. So we multiply by 2.25. And we also have to do the same thing here. We also have to multiply by 2.25. So it takes 2.25 hours. And what this is equal to is 2 hours and 15 minutes. 0.25 hours is the same as 15 minutes. So this is the final answer. Question number 22. This graph shows part of a straight line. For part A, we have to write down the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, and it crosses the y-axis over here at the point 3. So for the y-intercept, that will simply be given by 3. And now we have to show that the gradient of the line is -2. So for the gradient, we need to work out the change in y over the change in x. So the best way to do this is to pick whole integer points. For example, the point here and the point here. So the change in y from -1 to -5, that change in y is -4, and the change in x over here is +2. And so therefore, the gradient is equal to -4 divided by 2, which is -2. So that's exactly what we wanted to show. And now we have to write down the equation of the straight line. Well, an equation of the straight line is of the form y equals mx plus c. C is the y-intercept, m is the gradient. So we've got y equals -2x plus 3 as the equation of the straight line. And now for part D, the straight line continues to the right. Will this line pass through the point 50 minus 103? Show how you decide. Well, when x is equal to 50, the corresponding y value is -2 lots of 50 plus 3. Minus 100 plus 3 is -97, which doesn't equal the minus of 103. So does it pass through that point? Well, no, it doesn't. So, no, it doesn't pass through the point because minus 103 doesn't equal minus 97. Question 23, we've got ABCD, which is a quadrilateral, and this is what we see over here. And it says for part A, we have to construct the bisector of angle BC, showing our construction lines. So if we do that, we put the pointy bit of our compass on the point B, and then we draw two intersection lines over here, as we see here. And now that we've done that, pointy bit on one of the intersections, and we draw an arc as we see here. Same thing here. We draw an arc like so, and then we draw a line from here to this intersection point. So here is our perpendicular bisector. And then for the next part of the question, it says construct the perpendicular bisector of BC. So here's BC. Put the pointy bit over here somewhere, and we want a radius which is more than half of the length of BC. So I'll draw an arc over here. Same thing over here. We draw another arc, and then the perpendicular bisector then, well, we also need to go the other way. Same thing over here, need to go the other way as well. Like so. And then if we join those up with a straight line, here is the perpendicular bisector. And now for the next part of the question, it says shade the region which is nearer to BC than AB and nearer to B than C. So nearer to BC than AB, so we want everything to the right over here, so we want everything above the line, and we want it to be nearer to B than to C. So the region we want is the region over here. It's closer to B than it is to C, and it's nearer to BC than it is to AB. So this is the region we want, and we've also shown our construction lines with it. Question number 24. Lily buys and sells microwaves. She buys each one for £32 and sells it for £60. She also pays £7 for the delivery of each microwave she sells. If she sells a microwave that is faulty, then Lily must pay for its repair and redelivery. This costs her another £25 for each faulty microwave. Last month, 6 out of the 80 microwaves Lily sold were faulty. This month, she has orders for 133 microwaves. You have to calculate her expected percentage profit on this month's order. Show your working in the boxes below may help you present your work. Now, here we've got expected number of faulty microwaves, the expected cost, the income from sales, and the expected percentage profit. What we can do is find out the expected number of faulty microwaves. Now, this month she's ordering 133 microwaves. Last month, 6 out of 80 were faulty. So if last month 6 out of 80 were faulty, this month we've got 133 which are faulty. So the expected number of faulty we've got 6 over 80 times 133. It turns out here we get 9.975. So it will make sense for us to say then, because we can't have a decimal number of faulty microwaves, we can round up to say that we've got 10 faulty this month. So what will the expected costs be over here? Well, so for the expected costs, well, she's ordering 133 microwaves. And what would the cost of this be? Well, she buys each one for £32. And she's also paying £7 for the delivery. And then with the 10 that we are expecting to be faulty, we also have to pay £25 for these. So the expected costs then is 5,437. So this is how much we are expecting the everything to cost. What we can also do is find out the income from sales. So what's happening over here is the income, she's got 133 microwaves and she's selling them for £60. So 133 times by 60 we get 7,980. So what we need to do is calculate the percentage profit. This will equal 7,980 minus 5,437 divided by the original amount, 5,437, and then we multiply this by 100. So 7,980 take away 5,437 divided by 5,437 times 100. We are expecting a percentage profit of 46.77%, and that is two decimal places. So we have 46.77 given to two decimal places as our percentage profit. Question 25. The diagram shows Jane's lawn. It's in the shape of a square of side 36 meters and 3 semicircles. She's going to spread fertilizer on the lawn at a rate of 30 grams per square meter. The fertilizer is only sold in 10 kilogram bags, costing £15.80 each. You have to calculate the cost of buying the bags of fertilizer for her lawn. You must show all of your working. So what we're saying over here is we've got 36 here, 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 and also here. Now, if that's the case, that means the diameter is 36, and so the radius going from here to here will be 18. So now what we can do is find out the area of the lawn. So the area, we've got 36 times by 36, which is the square bit, and then we've got 3 semicircles, so the area of these will be pi times by 18 squared, and then we need to divide this by 2. So if I work out the area, it turns out that the area is equal to 2822.8 etc. meters squared. And she's going to spread fertilizer on the lawn at a rate of 30 grams per square meter. So what we can do with this is find out how many grams of fertilizer she requires. So therefore, for the fertilizer, we've got 30 multiplied by, 30 grams per meter squared multiplied by 2822.8 etc. meter squared. So we get 84,000. Just write this down here. We end up with 84,684.42 etc. grams. And if I was to convert this into kilograms, well, we know that from grams to kilograms, I need to divide by 1000. Kilograms to grams, I need to multiply by 1000. So if I divide this by 1000, what we end up with is the amount of fertilizer being 84.68 etc. kilograms. So this is how much fertilizer. So how many bags we need? Well, if we've got 10 kilogram bags, the number of bags we need, we've got 84.68 divided by 10, which is 8.4 etc. So therefore we need 9 bags. And if each bag costs £15.80, the cost then is equal to 9 multiplied by 1580. So 9 times by 1580 is £142.20. So we've got £142.20 for the total cost.